American politicians are not happy with what's happening right now in Canada with regard to the forest fires. Can you blame them? We're going to take a look at that story from a few angles here, starting with Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno.
U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno, a Republican from Ohio, is threatening legislative action against Canada over the wildfire smoke choking the Midwest. He said he'll be introducing a bill next week to sanction Canada and the responsible Canadian government officials for what he calls an atrocity, the smoke being driven by active wildfires burning across northwestern Ontario and northern Minnesota. Moreno's office said Canada's government failed to invest in wildfire prevention methods, including forest thinning, fuel reduction, prescribed burns, and stronger enforcement against arson. On Wednesday, Republicans from Michigan wrote a letter accusing
Hard to argue that. Something's got to give, man. This can't happen year after year. I made a post on X that wouldn't it be nice if all of Canada's problems, I mean, I'm kidding, but got so bad that they actually started to affect Americans? Maybe our problems would actually get fixed then. Americans, to their credit, they don't take shit like this. They complain and complain and complain until things get fixed. I'm saying that that's a very positive thing. I think Canadians, we should complain so much more. If things were going so smoothly, maybe not, but Canadians, it's like we're afraid to put ourselves out there or something. There's so, like Americans, this is my perception of an American versus a Canadian. I don't think Americans really give a crap what other people think of them. Maybe they do on some level. I'm sure everybody does a bit, but compared to Canadians, Canadians look so insecure and just, I don't know exactly what it is, but anyway.
Canadian government of mismanaging forest maintenance to reduce the risk of wildfires. They said that the Canadian government has, quote, offered excuses instead of results, saying we're done accepting apologies in place of action, adding if Canada will not manage its forests to prevent these fires, the United States will look elsewhere and act on our own to protect our people. Canada's Prime Minister didn't directly address the anger expressed by U.S. lawmakers, according to CBC News on Thursday. Instead, he took a jab at the Trump administration's handling of climate change policies, saying climate change is everyone's responsibility, truly everyone's, including the United States.
Oh, what a clown show. Okay, I'm going to go one more clip here. This is now Bernie Moreno on Fox News with Laura Ingraham talking about this situation. It's incredible, man. We've got to do something in Canada. Let me know in the comments. Do you think this is just climate change, or do you think that the forest is just so vast and so big that this is going to keep happening year after year? Because it didn't used to happen 4 or 5 years in a row. I do not buy the argument that I've seen from many people online, on the left specifically, that the problem can't be fixed. That's so beta bullshit. I hate that. I hate that the Canadian spirit is now at a place where this happens and the entire North American continent, for the most part, at least the eastern part of it, gets blanketed with forest fire smoke, and you have tons of people that go, there's nothing we can do. It's just the way it is. Where, like, that spirit never would have forged and developed the country in the first place. What the hell happened to everybody? Is everybody on medication? Is everybody so, like, depressed? What the fuck is going on with Canada? This has been happening for way too long. Canada, I feel like, needs, like, someone to snap itself out of it.
Well, Laura, look, it's very simple. We're being gassed. We are being systematically gassed here in Ohio. We have a very short summer. We're in peak summer right now. You can't go outside. It's absolutely horrifying. You wake up in the morning, you see air quality index that says hazardous, stay indoors. And like you said, this isn't the first time. It's not the second time. It's the third time this has happened. And we're not going to put up.
This is how I feel. Where I am, there's no air quality problem right now, but the last 2 years when there was, I was so pissed off. The summer, it's so short. This fire stuff, this is affecting over 100 million Americans right now. Over twice the size, or over 2 times as many people as there are in Canada. We're just ruining the summer for at least part of it, of over 100 million Americans. Of course they're pissed.
With it. This is totally avoidable, and it's not due to climate change. It's due to leadership change in Canada that's caused this problem.
Well, we were in Washington, and I was leaving very early this morning, and you could see the news feeds of the Lincoln Memorial looking toward the Capitol, except you can't see the Washington Monument. There's no Washington Monument. It's just a cloud of smoke. And you're thinking, who knows what kind of damage this is going to do to vulnerable lungs, and people who have no alternative but to work outside. So there's a real health issue. There's an entertainment, recreation issue. And
absolutely. I have sensitive lungs. I hated this. When the smoke like that happens, I barely go outside. I cannot deal with it. And I'm like a younger man. So imagine other populations, elderly people, etc., or people with very serious lung conditions. You're totally screwing them over.
Business losses. Clear business losses.
Yeah, let me put this in perspective, Laura. If you took every automobile in America off the road for 1 year, we had no cars, no trucks for an entire year, that's about the amount of pollution that is happening during this 2 or 3 week period of time, and it's being dumped onto primarily the Midwest. And when I hear politicians like Carney and Ford say that we should help when they could have avoided this problem, it's disgusting. We're going to put sanctions on them. That means holding their assets, making certain that they don't have visas. We're going to put tariffs, as President Trump talked about it, because we have to make certain that the people who are suffering get compensated. This is an abject, avoidable disaster.
Wow. This is a U.S. senator. That's not just a random commentator on the internet throwing a hissy fit. That's a sitting United States senator saying that stuff. I don't blame him.
And the left, who, by the way, talks about climate change every single day, this is the worst environmental disaster you could ever imagine. Every car in America for a year, pollution in 3 weeks dumped on the Midwest.
Well, they're saying we don't take climate change seriously enough, which
ridiculous. That's actually another one where I think the right is way better on the environment than the left. The left stays thinking about theoretical bullshit. The right cares about clean air, clean water. We will close the video out looking at a bit of this video here from CNN. This host seems surprised that this issue is political. Of course, it's going to be political.
And of course, like everything here in Washington, the poor air quality is political. President Trump just moments ago.
Why is that surprising? How would this not be political? I'm not going to go on a big rant here about that, but a massive issue like this, of course, politics is supposed to deal with issues. It makes way more sense for this issue to be political than all the other crap that politicians debate 24/7. How many more abortion debates do we need to hear? Or debates about, in Canada, for example, carbon tax?
Blaming Canada. Writing on Truth Social this, quote, "The United States is being unnecessarily invaded by filthy, polluted, and unhealthy air." The president goes on to say that Canada is not properly maintaining their forests and that their, quote, "willful negligence is costing the U.S. billions of dollars." He ends the post by suggesting that Canada should compensate the U.S. through, you guessed it, tariffs. CNN Washington correspondent for Puck News, Leanne.
She sounds like a big fan of Trump, eh? Wow. That sounded like the CBC. Some of these people on CNN, I think, are getting a bit more neutral. She sounds very left, very anti-Trump, at least in this segment. I'm not that familiar with who this is.
Caldwell is joining our panel now. I suppose that this was predictable.
Okay, so anyway, they do mention the World Cup in here somewhere. I'll just mention it now. This might screw up the World Cup. We'll see what happens, but I think it's on Sunday, so maybe the winds, maybe the weather will change. Maybe there'll be some rain to alleviate some of the smoke, but there's a very good chance that Canadian forest fire mismanagement just ruined the World Cup final. That's definitely on the table at this point. That would be awful, obviously, especially because up until this point, the World Cup has been crazy successful. I've been watching it. I'm not a soccer fan, but I've been following the World Cup a lot. But with that said, please like the video. Please subscribe. Have a great day.